Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothed the grass which is today in the field, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And seek not ye what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord. Praise ye the Lord.
For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather, seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. To the kingdom of Israel!
Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua, Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua, Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua, Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua.
The election, an aristocracy, meaning rule of the best, a group or class considered superior to others, a government by the best men in the state, a governing body composed of the best men in the state, and that's the elect. We're about to have it all. All right? Psalms 37 and verse 11. And it reads, "But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace." That word for peace in the Hebrew is shalom, which goes into safety, soundness in body, meaning we're going to truly have rest, welfare, health, prosperity, peace, quiet, tranquility, contentment. So we're going to fully enjoy the planet Earth. We're going to rule and exist within the Lord's creation as we were created to do. I'm ready to rule the world, man. How about you?
Let the golden light of this sunset guide our hearts in peace.
Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
The ocean spirit dances today to abundance and joy and to eternal peace.
See, this is what we're hoping for. This is part of our hope. Not only that we are members of the elect, with fruits meet for repentance, like John the Baptist said, but from our lowest state, because we've been brought low, even though we have this knowledge, we have this truth. Remember what it said in Revelation. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. Why are we rich? Because we're rich in faith. We have this knowledge. So our hope is at our last end, we're going to be increased. Okay? And if you ask me, the greatest riches right now is to be delivered by Yahushua is to get that new body that the Apostle Paul spoke about in 1 Corinthians 15th chapter, to get that, get that new body where we'll never be sick, we'll be immortals, like it said in 1 Corinthians 15, to be delivered from the coming destruction, and to be a part of Yahushua's cabinet in the next kingdom. Okay, those are the real riches right now. That's what we want to get. Because if you get that, you got everything. I mean, you got everything. Okay, so our sights are set a lot higher than this present world. All right, as it is written, the fashion of this world shall pass away. We are individuals of vision, and the scripture said, where an individual lacks vision, he perishes. Okay, so we can see the future. All right, and we hope that we're going to be part of it, beginning with the elect.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples for his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Kakadash. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake that will leave with the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai. All right, and what I want to get into this morning, okay, what we're going to get into this morning is dealing with poly crisis is coming, okay, and we know we're dealing with poly, which goes into many, and crisis, goes into catastrophic events, and ultimately you get into the root word, okay, of crisis. It goes into judgment. We went into it plenty of times, but when you go into the etymology of that word, okay, crisis, well, it actually goes into judgment, because we know everything that we see happening is the judgment of the Lord, okay, because we have to understand the Most High, all right, controls the left, okay, and the right hand, all right. Matter of fact, my brother want to post that it was Isaiah 45:7. Baba Shah, we can get that, okay? Because we know the Most High controls the left and the right, and through both sides, the Lord can execute judgment, okay? And we're seeing the left hand getting ready to be used, okay, for major judgment. Esau, Edom, okay? The Lord is putting Esau in a position to where, as he's trying to roll out to the new world order, he's getting resistance. People are calling him out. People are, people are even beginning to destroy, okay, his infrastructure, the cameras. You see people are protesting data centers, before they can be built, okay, and these things are going to force Esau to come on with it. He's going to have to come on with, all right, crisis. He's going to have to bring crisis events, okay, to get people to bend the knee, okay, to create the circumstances of desperation. You see? So when you let's go here. Yep. Let's get it in both the KJV and NLT. The brothers got it. So when you go to the book of Isaiah 45:7, it says, I form the light. This is the brother servants of Yahweh Shai says, I form the light and create darkness. I am peace and create evil. Okay, I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So it's the Heavenly Father, all right, that controls both sides. Okay, and right now, the Lord is gearing the left hand up to come down with major crisis, man, because that's the only way that he's going to forward his new world order. Okay, because this subtle way of him trying to roll this thing out and present it to the public as if it's all about safety and security, well, they're not buying it, man. Okay, so this devil is going to have to create, all right, some dire circumstances, okay, and able to forward his new world order. You see, the Lord is not allowing him to ease this thing in. No, he's going to have to bring this in, all right, with terror, okay, because the Lord wants major judgment to go forth in the earth, man, and he's going to use Esau as a tool of judgment before he judges Esau, man. Okay, so the Most High is controlling both sides, all right, for the sake of bringing forth prophecy, man. Okay, let's read this in the NLT. Isaiah 45:7 says, "I create the light and make the darkness." This is from the brother you call Hope for 144. "I create the light and make the darkness. I sing good times and bad times. I, the Lord, am the one who does these things." Okay, so it's the Heavenly Father, that is in control of every circumstance that we see playing out in the planet Earth, man. And Lord will, we fall into the Lord's mercy, man, and we fall into good circumstances. Okay, going into these times. Okay, but we know that before our kingdom, it's prophesied that there's going to be a time like no other time before. Okay, and the Lord is forcing Esau, okay, to have to come on with it. It's our power that's forcing Esau to do this, man. Okay, and we got a few videos to show that he's, he tries to, subtly do particular things and implement some particular things, and he getting a lot of pushback, man. So he gonna have to push back against this pushback that he's getting with force, man, and with terror. Okay, he's gonna have to really unleash some type of pestilence, man. All this playing around, the Hunter virus, there's the rats, and you see Ebola, and you're gonna have to really come with something, man. Okay, you're gonna have to really come with something that's gonna bring people to their knees, blood gushing out their eyes, and people shriveling up, and heads explode. You're gonna have to come with some shit, man. You're gonna have to come on with it. Okay, because right now this nigga pity pat, man. Okay, Esau, you pity pat, man. You see, we need you to dig a little deeper, man. You need to sing from here. We need you singing from the gut with this thing, man. Okay, so you're gonna have to go a little deeper into your bag, man, to come on with it. Okay, because what he's trying to do now, is ease this thing out, man. That shit ain't working, man. Okay, you got to come on with it, man. So let's go. Ike told Tina, you gotta sing from here. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord making Esau come from the gut, man. Okay, this the brother GMS Ya'atazabun Yahawada. All right, Amos 3:6, shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people shall not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord have not done it? Okay, so any evil or bad times, all right, that's brought upon the earth, well, we know that the source of that is the Lord, all right, and the Lord brings bad times as a means of judgment, which we're going to get in the scriptures, man. Okay, these evil times is the Lord judging the earth, man, this society, man. And Esau is a tool, the elites of Esau, Edom, okay, the ones that are pulling the string and orchestrating, all right, to attempt to pull this technocracy off. Well, they're being used as a tool to bring about mass judgment, okay, before their judgment, So we're seeing the Lord's will play out on every level. Amos 3:7, it says, surely the Lord will do nothing, but he has revealed his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. Yeah, so we know that the source of judgment is not Esau, but the Most High. Okay, and that Esau is just a tool. Okay, so this tool is going to be used to bring about, these polycrises, man. I want to get that definition for polycrisis. I think I got to pull it up. Okay, so let's go here. This is polycrisis definition. Says a polycrisis, okay, is a situation where multiple distinct crises occur simultaneously and interact in ways that amplify each other. You see, because guess what? The famine is going to amplify what? Civil unrest. Okay, the gun violence, the famine is going to amplify already the division that's already here. Okay, a famine is going to amplify it. Okay, and then famine, All right, when the body goes into famine, guess what? The immune system breaks down, which is going to what? Open the door for pestilence and diseases. Okay, so what we're going to see with these different crises happening at the same time, okay, it's going to have a compounding effect, and it's going to amplify. It's going to have an amplifying effect. Okay, to what's already here. It says a polycrisis is a situation where multiple distinct crises occur simultaneously and interact in ways that amplify each other, producing a combined outcome far more severe than the sum of their parts. Okay, so we're going to see, a ripple effect with these different crises, man. Okay, and then this devil going to have to come on with it. He going to have to just turn the pumps off. All this gas going up and down, nigga. Turn the pumps off, nigga. Okay, turn the pumps off and tell them niggas ain't no more gas. Okay, how that nigga Big Worm told that nigga ain't no more chili cheese fries, fat boy. Okay, you gotta get in that spirit, eat. God damn. But young, I don't know. We gotta coach this nigga Esau and what to do next, man. Okay, but he gotta tighten his ass up, man. You gonna have to come on, bring some crisis, Esau. Okay, because this cute shit you trying to do, it ain't working, man. Okay, you getting called out. Everybody breaking down your narrative. As soon as you roll it out, comparing it to what you did in 2020, they comparing it like this nigga. You see? So let's let's go to the word crisis to show you, okay, that crisis is really judgment, man. Yeah, but young, you gotta tell your uncle tighten up, man. You see, he trying to play this finesse ball, man. Nah, man. Most I want this nigga to play prison ball, man. Okay, let's get this word crisis. Okay. So let's get this word crisis and add them online. All right. So you go to crisis. It said decisive point in the progress of a disease, also vitally important or decisive state of things, point in which change must come for better or worse. Okay. So change he has to create, all right, crisis to really bring about the change that he wants. Okay. And the change that he wants is going to be short lived. Okay. Now it says turning point in a disease, but now when you jump down, it says literally, okay, judgment, result of a trial, okay, to separate, to decide, or to judge. Okay, so literally judgment. So crisis goes into judgment. Okay, and the decision has been made that the Lord wants this current age to suffer. All right, that's why you got, brother can post that in what's that 2nd Ezra 8 and 50. Okay, so the Lord already got it set up, all right, and decided of the judgment that he's getting ready to bring, all right, to this society, man, especially here in America, because it's going to be the worst right here in the good old US of A, man. Okay, so let's play let's go here and then we'll tap into some videos. I got this in GNT. Okay, it's 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Okay, in verse 5 it said, the Lord says, I'm going to bring terrible disasters on the whole world, war, famine, death, and destruction. So you go into the scriptures all about polycrisis, which poly going to many, and crisis we know goes into judgment. So the Lord's going to bring about many forms of judgment. Really when you go into the word poly, crisis is many judgments when you really go into it. Okay, so the Lord all through the scriptures speaks about many judgments. Okay, the Lord says, I'm going to bring terrible disasters on the whole world, war, famine, death, and destruction, because wickedness has spread everywhere and evil has reached its limit. Yeah, so wickedness has a cutoff point. So these things that vex us, this world get more and more wicked. Well, we just know the comfort in that is necessary. Like this world has to get just openly more wicked, okay, so it can reach its limit. So the Lord can bring about what? Those many judgments, man. Okay, that's all throughout the scriptures. You see? Let's go. All right, brother got that. I'm gonna cue this video up, and the brother could too get Sirach 39, 28 through 30, I want to say. All right, so let's go here. We'll play a little bit of this. All right, so this the brother. All right, it's the beloved brother. Naji MS All In 144. Second Ezra 8 and 50 said, "For many great misery shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." Okay, because they have walked in great pride, man. Okay, so pride is bringing on judgment because Esau has the earth in the state of pride and rebellion. Okay, and this pride and rebellion is going to bring about great judgment. Okay, and Esau, Edom, the least, they're going to get the worst part of the judgment, man. You know, because they're going to be reserved for harsh captivity, man. Okay, and every time that they die in the kingdom and come back, they're going to be in the most harshest, okay, most rigorous place of captivity. You know, because what they've done in their rulership. Okay, but what the elites have done, all right, they have led the planet Earth, okay, to a point of great judgment, to where the Lord has to intervene and judge the earth. Okay, the times of Noah. Okay, the scriptures speak about, you know, in the times of Noah, what the atmosphere was like. Well, the same atmosphere is here. Okay, to where people are just going about their day to day in their wickedness and in their pride. You know, that's a cultural norm. Pride and rebellion, lewdness, okay, violence. These things are the norm in this society, man. Okay, everything that the Lord hates, everything that the Lord hates, that our power hates, this devil has made a cultural norm in this society, man. Okay, so judgment, all right, that polycrisis, which is many judgments, is going to come and break this shit up, man. Okay, so let's go here. This the brother servants for Yahushua. This Sirach 39 and 28. He said, "There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore scroats. In the time of their destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them," man. So the Lord's really finna open up, man. All right, these spirits of judgment is finna start getting active, man. Okay, the Lord finna start putting these spirits on people that to just go haywire, man. You know, the Lord finna crank this thing up, man. The Lord finna put a battery in the back of Esau, man. Okay, because he's a spirit of vengeance. Okay, then you're gonna have random spirits jumping on people, man, for vengeance, man. Okay, especially as things get more and more tense. Okay, then you're gonna have actual angels out here getting busy, man. Okay, things are just gonna continue to intensify and amplify, man, as we get closer and closer to the return of Yahushua. Okay, and if brother can post verse 29, all right, and 30 as well. You know, Sirach 39 verses 29, 30 as well. Okay, so yeah, we in some times, all right, crucial judgment. And the Lord, like I say, is forcing Esau's hand. You see, and I'll play this while brother get that. So yeah, this guy here, he tries to go into the scriptures, you know, which he is on point with the MOTB to a degree. You know, you'll be more informed listening to this guy about the MOTB than ISUPK and IUIC. Okay, but yeah, let's go into this. You know, we'll correct what need to be corrected. But let's just play this real quick and show you how these devils are being forced to have to come on with it, man.
Every transaction, a digital ID required to buy or sell. A crisis used to force compliance. Today, we're going to hear clips from author and investigative journalist Whitney Webb. And when you hear what she's not talking about prophecy. She might not even be a believer for all I know. She's simply explaining what she knows about what is actually happening in the financial world and what is coming to what's been written about for 2,000 years in the Bible. Not about the market itself, but the infrastructure that makes it all possible. So let's check these clips and more truth. Let's check it out.
You'll have the Fed, the central bank, working with the private banks that own the Fed in the United States. The partnership between them will be the system. It's not going to be all public. It's not going to be all private. It is a partnership. If you choose to use those, and if you regulate them, clear that the way to force onboarding of the CBDC or this type
or CDBC means Central Digital Bank Currency. Central Digital Bank Currency. It's a central digital currency. It's not in cash or in gold, but completely electronic.
Is going to be some sort of crisis, some sort of event. I think the immigration crises, any sort of refugee situation, that's going to be used to push for digital IDs. I think it's just a very easy excuse for them, a way for them to quickly manufacture consent. Because, you know, all these people, we don't know who they are. They could be criminals. They could be anybody. We have to know who everybody is. And it's going to be sold as a way to provide security to the insecurity created by the migrant crisis. So I think there's been growing awareness for some time that there's a lot of bipartisan consensus about most of the policies of the U.S. government, like in the war, for example. And some people refer to it as uniparty. But people also forget that too. So what a lot of people, but I think not a lot of people truly understand how that paradigm works. If you think about it as the left hand and right hand of the establishment, the hand made a problem intentionally. And then the opposing hand comes in and offers the solution. But the solution was always what the establishment wanted, but it's sold as a solution to a problem created by the other side. So it creates the illusion that the opposing force solved a problem, but in reality, the problem was manufactured by one hand of the system, and then the solution was offered by the other hand. The man that claims to have created CBDCs is a man from Barbados named Oliver Gale. He created one of the first, well, arguably the first CBDC project in the Caribbean, and then went on to have a key role in creating the Nigerian CBDC.
Yeah, listen to this.
So the way the CBDC in Nigeria was set up is that in order to access the CBDC, you have to have a national identification number, which is the Nigerian Digital ID project. So you have to have a digital ID in order to be able to access the Nigerian CBDC. And the way they tried to get people to onboard to the CBD system was by cutting off the vast majority of the cash in circulation in Nigeria. And so despite the fact that they created these conditions to coerce people into using the CBDC, the populace resists. In the state in Nigeria and in other African countries where, you know, these sort of systems are being rolled out, the governments have abused these systems to go after journalists or other people and violate human rights. So it's not a tool for increased human rights. It's not a tool for increased inclusion. It's inherently exclusionary, and it's a surveillance tool. So if Nigeria's tactic of, drastically reducing the amount of cash in circulation didn't work, then I think it's quite clear that the way to force onboarding of a CBDC is going to be some sort of crisis, some sort of event where people will be made an offer they can't refuse, essentially. Yeah. Whatever that crisis is that creates the situation where people will have, very little choice but to onboard to this new digital currency system.
So you see, the things that they try to do subtly that people push back on. You remember that nigga Kirk Starmer. The nigga Starmer, I forgot his first name. Starmer, that nigga from the UK. But he came out and he tried to say with his chest, you will get a digital ID. You will need a digital ID in the UK to work. Okay, and the folk cut up over there, man. They had the backpedal on this shit. Okay, and then the war came, and this nigga kept saying, "This is not our war," and now this nigga done retired. This nigga done stepped down. This nigga Steinman, man. Okay, so he tried to come with this tough guy. All right, little goddamn dweeb. Okay, so he tried to come with this. You will need this to work in the UK. All right, and then he had to back off of it, man, because people weren't complying. Okay, they started cutting up over there in London, having rallies, and you see. Then when this war came, there was a final straw. That nigga got out of there, man. Okay, so yeah, man, this devil was on the back foot, man, and he just gonna have to wild out. Okay, the Lord is leaving Esau with no choice, okay, but to wild out with this with the sword, man, and enforce this thing, man. Okay.
It could manifest in a number of ways, but regardless of how it manifests, what the typically financial privacy is dangerous.
What do you think so far?
So I'll put the rest of this in here. All right. Well, just to show you, all right, that every time the devil, tries to, go forward with his agenda, he's meeting resistance and pushback. Okay. Which is putting him in a corner to where he's going to be like a madman sparing none. Okay. And if the brother can put verse 31 as well, Bible Shah. All right. But I think that's the main point with this one. She talks. All right, but yeah, you can watch the rest of that one. All right, I'm gonna load this one up. Okay, to show you, all right, that the pushback, in America and in these EU nations, man. Okay, so when you go to let's see, people are making these open source, people are making these open source, apps, to where you can, see this devil's infrastructure that he's setting up. Okay, you can bypass, certain, which at the end of the day is going to get to the point where none of that's going to matter. All right, everybody's going to be faced with a decision, man, because the Lord going to put his spirit of a madman on Esau because he's getting frustrated, man. Okay, this is the book of Sirach, 39:29 from the brother Naji MS All In 144. Fire and hell, famine and death, all these was created for vengeance. Okay, and it's the vengeance of the Lord. All right, because the Lord's going to take vengeance on the masses, and he's going to use Esau, okay, as a tool to do that. Okay, he's going to use Esau as a tool to take his vengeance out on the masses for y'all following and believing this nigga. This nigga that y'all follow, all right, this beast system that y'all love and worship. Okay, well, the nigga that got y'all to worship this, the Lord going to use that nigga as a tool to judge the masses, man. Okay? And then he's going to be judged, man, because ultimately Yahweh Shai is going to come back, okay, and enslave, all right, the elites, man. Okay, and the survivors of all you heathen. Okay? Now when you go to verse 30 said, teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked, all right, to destruction, man. So you're gonna have, going back to polycrisis, man, and that's something that people are not aware of, the teeth of wild beasts, man, how the Lord just gonna unleash, wild animals out here, man. Okay, it's gonna be a spirit of vengeance on them. Okay, probably not gonna be able to die, probably not gonna be able to shoot them. The nigga probably not gonna never get they're gonna be continually hungry, a bottomless stomach, pack of wolves. You can't die with a bottomless stomach, man. Okay. It's gonna get the Lord finna show power, man, because he's gonna do things to let you know that this is of a higher power. This ain't regular judgment going. This judgment is from a higher power, man. That's what time the Lord finna be on. Okay. In verse 31. All right, it says, they shall rejoice. It says, yeah, they shall rejoice in his commandment and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. Yeah, so nothing disobeys the will of the Lord. Okay, and the Lord's going to send out these commandments of destruction and judgment, man. And everything obeys his will, from animals to Esau, to diseases, to whatever. Everything obeys the will of the Lord, man. Okay, there's nothing that disobeys the Lord's will. You see, yep, there's the brother, priest Anah. All right, GMS, look up. All right, this Jeremiah 15:2 says, and it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as are for death to death, and such as for the sword, okay, such as for the sword to the sword, and such as for the famine to famine, and such as for the captivity to captivity, man. So the Bible is riddled with polycrisis, what they call polycrisis, which is many judgments, man. Okay, a lot of people gonna be tortured in these camps. Esau gonna haul people off and torture them in these camps. Okay, a lot of people getting ready, all right, to starve to death. A lot of people are going to die by gun violence. Okay, and then even the sword goes into the nukes, man. Some are going to be reserved to the nukes. You see, and you keep going. It says, and I will appoint over them 4 kinds. So just like the Lord has an appointed elect that's going to receive mercy, well, there's an appointed judgment for everyone else, man. Okay, so the Lord is going to your judgment is already appointed. That's why the Lord is just letting the earth wild out. Walk right into that judgment at this point appointed for them. Okay, it says, and it says, and I will appoint over them 4 kinds, said the Lord, the sword to slay, the dogs to tear, and the fowls of heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. Okay, so these are the times that we in. You see, well, the Lord is getting ready to bring about, all right, judgment in many forms. Okay, and he's intentionally pissing off Esau, so Esau can wild out. Okay, so let's play this.
Okay, now as dark and bleak, as hopeless as it looks like things are, not only politically, but also economically, I don't want you to give up hope, because it seems like people who, strike me as normies are starting to become more aware. They're waking up to the surveillance police state that is basically cementing us in our society right now with these data centers, which are just mass surveillance, AI, robotics, human replacement centers. It's getting out of hand. And they're building these data centers for a reason, because they want to compile and store all of this data, not just crazy cat pictures and real neat queries that we can get all these quick answers from AI, but basically they're powering Palantir, Flock Security, Raven Technology, ShotSpotter technology, drones. These data surveillance centers will enable the state to become even more powerful. And you see it with the installation of Flock security cameras all over the place, including little small areas, small country areas. Just look at your city. Look at the dflock.com website and look how many cameras they installed just last week. As a matter of fact, the last time I did an exposure video on Flock security cameras, there were only 101,000. Now there are 106,591. And it seems like every time you refresh the screen, they've installed a dozen more. But don't give up, because people are waking up. And we're going to go over a couple of examples right now. Here's one of them. And this right here has 900,000 likes on TikTok.
Watch the FIFA World Cup 2026 live on Fox 1, June 11th through July 19th.
You know those Flock cameras that have been popping up all over the U.S., right? Do not, under any circumstances, point a high-powered green laser at the Flock cameras. This cannon will permanently damage and or disable the cameras and require them to be replaced and cost the company money.
And we definitely don't want that, right?
So please.
So they're telling you how to destroy those Flock cameras. Okay, with these green lasers. You see, this is a what we're seeing is a revolt, man. Okay, like I say, hey, they don't, especially here in America, man. They do not want to put this New World Order outfit on, man. Okay, so they're subtly telling each other how to, disable, okay, the flock cameras, man, which is New World Order infrastructure, man. Okay, they're forcing the devil to have to react. Okay, draconian, man.
Under no circumstances do this.
I can't share the music on this video right here, but this says, me taking back roads in order to avoid the flock camera they just installed in our town of 60 people. Here's another member of Team Awake with 126,000 likes.
Now, if you see something like this or this in your area, then you might be living under one of the largest mass surveillance programs that has proliferated across the United States. What's behind me is a license plate camera owned by the company Flock. And Flock builds these networks of cameras that are put up, like you see, to allegedly read license plates and allow law enforcement to track vehicles as they move across cities and states. Now, Flock originally marketed itself as a safety network, a crime deterrent, or as a tool for police to build safer communities. Flock sold itself to communities as an AI-powered way to build a network of license plate cameras that could help police crack down on crime and build safer communities.
And that is always the alibi of tyrants. What is the direct and famous quote? The safety of the people will always be the alibi of tyrants. So you want to install Flock safety. You want people safe, don't you? And if you don't want people safe, maybe you're the questionable one. Maybe you're the one that this surveillance system was built for.
As they've proliferated across the country, safety concerns, privacy concerns, and abuse of power when it comes to these networks has been rampant. As a runner, I love running outside, and I also recognize that my access to outdoor green space is incredibly political because—
And there have been runners who've been abducted, and it would have been nice, truly, to have a camera to get the license plate of the person that was doing the abducting. But just—
And these runners that are being abducted, what do you think they're doing? Okay, well, we know these devils, they harvest, organs. Okay, and XCX trafficking. Okay, so here it is, all these flock cameras, but child abductions are not going down. Okay, XCX trafficking is not being exposed. You see, organ harvest is not going down. Okay. So all this, BS about safety, man. Come on, man. Okay.
Because crime happens sometimes doesn't legitimize mass warrantless surveillance at all times.
It's driven by legacies of redlining, over-policing, and state surveillance like these cameras right here.
And then we get to the issue that invariably happens every single time with this kind of technology and this kind of power. Police misuse of this technology and power.
A Milwaukee cop just resigned after using Flock cameras to stalk a woman he was dating. He ran her plate 179 times in 2 months. According to the Institute for Justice, this is happening all over the country. They've documented at least 14 cases of officers using license plate readers to stalk romantic partners, exes, and in one case, a complete stranger, a Florida deputy spotted on a TV set and decided to—
That's 14 known cases of law enforcement agents who are entrusted with public safety to use Flock safety cameras to stalk somebody without their permission. It's not just mass surveillance, it's mass stalking. In these 14 cases, these are just the ones we know about. There's no telling how massive the abuse numbers are.
A Kansas police chief ran his ex-girlfriend's plate over 200 times. A Kentucky officer tracked an ex hundreds of times in 2 months. Every single one of these searches was logged as an investigation. The Milwaukee cop only got caught because his victims looked themselves up on a public website called Have I Been Flocked?
And thank God for these open source platforms. This is the website Have I Been Flocked? And I will leave this link in the description and in the pinned comment for you so you can put in your license plate number and see if you've been flocked. I bet you have hundreds and hundreds of times, if not thousands of times.
So they're making these open source websites, to where you can see if you've been flocked. Okay, put your license plates in and search and see if you've been flocked. Okay. which, you know, I don't trust none of it. But it's all this resistance, man. Okay, and this devil, he's gonna have to. It's gonna force Esau to get into another gear. Okay, it's forcing this nigga to go into another gear with this thing, man. Okay.
It's not just license plates they're reading. Now with Signal Trace, and I'll leave the link to that video that I did just last week in the comment section or the description. They detect the signals that are emitting from your vehicle as they're taking a picture of your license plate. And as they're putting the profile of your vehicle into a database, they know exactly whose cell phone is on board, what AirPods you have, wireless watches, any wearables, the signals emitting from your onboard computer in your infotainment system in your brand new vehicle. You name it, they're tracking you, they're tracing you, they're collecting your data, and they're doing it all without a warrant right in front of our faces. That's why you see, and you're going to see more and more of this.
For this right here. This looks like to be, let me see if it is. Yeah, I can see there. There is a flock camera that has been cut down here in DeBary in Volusia County. I think this is the first one that's been cut down in Volusia County. However, I'm going to tell you right now, if you do this, you're going to get a felony charge. It's going to be straight up felony charge. There's a lot of joking posts on the internet saying that there is a lot of copper in these things, but there is not a lot of copper, and that's not a reason to cut these down, even if you are a scrapper. The best way to handle this is to go to your governing bodies like your council and say, we do not want these tag readers anymore. The sheriff's office will definitely come after you right here. It looks like,
and it's not just.
Yeah, you see they cutting them down. They're starting to cut them down, which plays into how what is Second Ezra 15. How they're not going to obey their princes. Power is going to be in their own hands. Brother want to post it. Okay. So we see these things on a small scale, and then they're just going to escalate. They're tired of going to these town meetings, because the town meetings don't do nothing. Okay, because they go to the town meetings, the data center still go up, block safety, or the camera surveillance state still going up. Okay, so you're going to see an increase in more of this, man. And even if because even in the UK, they've been doing this in the UK, which. We'll go to some video of Razan in the UK, what they've been doing to this surveillance, infrastructure. All right, so let's play this.
The Flock tag readers, they also have Axon, and there are other companies who compete with Flock safety. This technology is expanding, and this equipment is being assembled all over the place.
Someone used a Sawzall on this thing right there. It looks like that. You can see the marks on it, the teeth marks. Looks like a metal blade. It's definitely a Flock camera. This one's not one of the solar powered ones right here, but if you're from this area, this is right near Enterprise Road and the High Banks Road right there at that intersection. There's a map that you can see these if you want to avoid them. There's a map called Flock Hopper. I'll put a link down in the comments there, but you can see where these are all placed and avoid them when you're driving. They actually have a GPS map that will tell you, listen, hey, here's what you can do in order to, avoid these tag readers in different places. It shows them and it navigates you right around them like Google Maps.
But it's getting more and more difficult to avoid them as more and more of them are installed and constructed. And because people are becoming more aware and are waking up and are pissed off, more and more of this is happening.
What's up, everybody? JMA here. We're at 35th and Volco in Water right now. There's, if you're familiar with this area, there's railroad tracks here, and it kind of turns and goes around over here. But I was given a photo of a stump here that was, just sitting here like this. Apparently, another Flock camera has been cut down. I was thinking that maybe someone had hit it. You can see some tire marks going through here, some right through here. Maybe they just do that when it gets wet to make some ruts. But this one is definite. There is definite saw marks on this one here. You can see it. Looks like they may have used a reciprocating saw, like a battery operated one. just because of how much it's jumping around there. If it was a hacksaw, that thing would be, just basically one line cut right there. But yep, this one definitely looks down. This was a flock reader. You can see it right here on the map. Now, there is another one that's down here on US 1. I didn't check it when I came in to see if it is still there. But apparently, this area being so desolate with houses, there's not many houses around here. And likely if someone did come down here with a power saw, no one would have heard it because there's not many houses around here to hear it.
Now, here's how a law enforcement agent could spin this. There could be a kidnapping in this area or a horrible traffic accident. And then they'll say, well, the person who cut this pole down right here kept us from doing a thorough investigation. Now we don't know exactly what happened. We don't know who the kidnapper is. We don't know who the person was who initiated and caused this accident because of this. This is why we need flock safety cameras.
Yep, man. So the devil, he's going to spin all these narratives to the reason why, they need these safety cameras. Okay, and he's going to constantly push, peace and safety, security, health. Okay, anti-terrorism, and you see, he's going to constantly push these things. That's why, one of the main things he's going to push is national defense. Okay, I say this is going to be punishable by felony offense, man. Okay, and they're going to cause, pretty soon, these devils are going to cause this to be a terrorist. Okay, they're going to cause this to be a terrorist activity. Okay, for destroying, this public infrastructure. Okay, they're going to call this acts of terrorism. You best believe they're going to link it to national defense and acts of terrorism. Okay, so this devil has a narrative that he wants to spin. And eventually, what this devil does is he sees people are doing this, and he'll cause, people, he'll pay and start sabotaging his own, infrastructure so he can be justified in bringing the hammer, man. Okay, but there's an authentic resistance against what this devil is trying to do. Okay, and let's go from there. Like I said, the rest of that video pretty good. You got some more information. If you brothers want to tap in. All right, I'll put the video in the link. But let's go here. I want to look at this. I just typed up this Flock Hopper website. Yep. So you got the website called Flock Hopper. Just type in Flock Hopper. Don't get flock.com. You see. So people are against this, man. Okay, it shows you all the cameras, and I just looked it up just to see what it was, but yeah, they got it. Okay, don't get flock.com, so it'll probably be interesting to look into, see what they got on there. But yeah, man, people are creating a resistance against this, man. Okay, and we know that every resistance that this devil infiltrates to control the narrative so he can bring about, all right, more draconian, punishments and rules, man. Okay, so that's their website. It'll be interesting to kind of look at it, investigate that. But let's go from here. I got one more I want to tap into. So when you go into, they got this group called Blade Runner in Europe. Okay. Let's see. So let's go here. Let's play some of these shorts. This is what they're doing in London.
We could all learn something from the people of Britain right now. There's these cameras, ultra low emission zone cameras, and they'll just charge you for driving around in the intercity areas. And as you can see here, they be cutting them down. They cut them down a lot. They call them blade runners because they roll around the city and just chop them down everywhere. And I know what you're thinking. There's probably 2 or 3 cameras they get. They probably get a few a day. 50% at any given time throughout the city of London, these cameras are cut down. That's how high of a rate these guys work at. As you can see here, a whole intersection getting hit at once. Absolutely amazing. That's what happens when people work together towards a shared goal. We could all learn something from the people of Britain, right?
And I think this was how long ago this was? I think this is last year, 2 years ago. Okay.
Here we have them, folks. What I'm saying, mate, we up to working with these ULEZ cameras, are you? It's not a very good job, is it, bruv? Not a very good job at all. Here he is, people. Oh, the Phantom Sticker Man's going to be interested in this, mate. He knows all about you boys coming around here. I know he watches my videos and also, getting set up here at Long Lane, people. We've got one over there, 2 people. Looks like they're in this little white van here, folks.
So these people getting harassed, they're setting these cameras up. Okay.
The group collectively known as the ULEZ Blade runs the ultra-low emission zone cameras around London by spray painting them, breaking them, or cutting them down are to be labelled as a terrorist organisation by the British government. The group collectively known as the ULEZ Blade Runners who damaged the ultra-low emission zone cameras around London by spray painting them, breaking them, or cutting them down are to be labelled as a terrorist organisation.
Yeah, so the devil, he's going to infiltrate, any resistance, all right, and amplify it, okay, just so he can create what? Okay, so he can create this this scare that something has to be done about, okay, what they call blade runners in the UK. Okay, now you're starting to see that in America, man. So we know there's an authentic resistance to what the devil is doing. Like I say, what the devil does, he infiltrates these resistance, and he's going to take it there to a whole nother level, okay, just so he can come and say, well, look, this is a problem, okay, that has to be punished, and this goes against national security, okay, because if you don't have anything to hide, what's the big deal? That's their thing. If you don't have anything to hide, what's the big deal? Okay, so yeah, man, this devil, he's gonna have to come on with, all right, multiple, all right, events and crises, all right, to really move the needle to this new world order. He's been forced. The Lord is forcing his hand. Okay, let's go here. Let's see, the brother got it. Yep. So this is the brother Yashima, tribe of Judah. In 2nd Ezra 15:16 said, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings or princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their own power." So the scriptures speak about, a revolt against the system, man. Okay, because as people are peeping what the devil is trying to do, all right, as the scriptures say, this man will be exposed, he will be bare, he will not be able to hide himself. Okay, his own tongue shall fall upon him. Okay, everything in secret shall come to the light. Okay, then shall the man of sin be revealed. Okay, so as this man is revealed, all right, there's an authentic revolt against this devil, man. There's resistance, and there's certain things that he has tried to roll out, but he's been hitting these walls, man. Okay, in order to break through these walls that he's hitting with this new world order, all right, he's gonna have to bring the pain. Okay, he's gonna have to bring about suffering, man. He's gonna have to come on with his depopulation agenda. He's gonna have to come on with it. Okay, and he's gonna have to stop pussyfooting, man. Okay, and that's why let's go here to let's get this in 2nd Ezra. Okay, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. Okay, so the Lord is pushing this man, okay, to the point of being this this madman. The 2nd Ezra 16. Okay, in 70 it says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next city a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord." Okay, because we know, in the midst of this new world order, Esau wants to get off on Jacob. He wants to pull off a genocide on Israel. Okay, See, that's what niggas don't understand. Okay, that's what our people don't understand, that the people that's in power is your enemy, Esau Edom. Okay, and he's tried to genocide, all right, Jake before. You see what he did to the northern tribes when they first came over here, where they knocked, Ephraim from down to 500, man. Okay, Gad, hundreds of millions of Gadites. Okay, slaughtered, man. You see, the southern kingdom in the middle passage, that transportation over here, that was a slaughter, man. Okay, so the scriptures talk about a time that's going to be worse than it, man. You see, because you Israelites, you were created to fear the Lord. You see, and in the midst, we know the prophets is his main prize. But see, when he starts to make his move towards the prophets, all right, the believers, man, it's going to be, all right, now he's going to tap into another phase. Okay, he's going to be met with a standard, and the Lord's going to allow him to, martyr, all right, some of the believers, man, but it's not going to be the majority. Okay, there's a standard promise, man. It said they should be like madmen, sparing none. Okay, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their house. Yeah, so the devil was just going to snap. Okay, the Lord's going to cause Esau to snap. Okay, because the way he's trying to go about it, he's not making progress, man. He's falling further and further behind in his agenda, man. So he's going to be pressed. Okay. You see, so you go take off the gloves, man. It says, then shall they be known who are my chosen. Why? Because their standard going to be lifted. Okay. And then even those that are martyrs, man, the way that they go out. Okay. The way that they're going to go out in Yahweh Bashim al-Shah is going to be known. Okay, they really believe. Okay, it says, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Oh, it says here, oh, ye my beloved, said the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your God, man. So we're going to be guided through this, man. The Lord knows the days of trouble at hand. He's bringing the days of trouble, man. This is for us to be tested. You see? And that's why we can't even cherish our life, man. Oh, it is what it is. If death is what it is, that's what it is, man. That's why we can't even cherish our life, okay, in this truth, man. Okay, because we know true life is in Yahweh Shai. And Yahweh Shai, even if we die, hey, when we return, we're going to be raised up. We got to believe in the resurrection. We got to believe that he is going into this time of trouble. Okay? So this is why the Lord has us separated and has us looking at this thing with a completely different mindset, man, than everyone else, man. So, yeah, we'll leave it there. All right. Yeah, so we'll leave it there. Lord will. All right, you brothers. All right, and if you sisters edified, once again, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards young brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, shalom.